Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning together to peace out. I know I'm working on it. I worked on it all night. My neighbor did some crazy stuff. I don't know what they were doing up there, but the dog barked all night. I was all night long. I was like, do I call 911 or just trust we're going to be okay, right? We're just going to trust we're going to be okay. Of course we did. We trusted we would be okay. And I don't know what was going on, but it was a crazy night around here. It was just another test. Another place to find where I could trust God more. Isn't that what it's all about, is just learning to trust him more? And one thing we can do, this ties into this morning's devotion, is we can look back at what he's done. And when we look back at what he's done, we can be assured that he's going to do what he's always done, and he's going to be with us through whatever we're facing today, whatever comes up today. He's already got it covered. He's already taken care of it. He gave us this peace and said, you know what, just hold on to that because you're going to need it all these years. It's going to be with you. I'm not taking it back. It's not going away somewhere, right? It's like, just hold on to this peace. He's given us what we need for life and godliness, the natural and the spiritual. And that's what I'm going to, looking back and comparing some things, is what I'm going to be talking about a little bit this morning. I started with one idea, but I ended up somewhere else this morning. And that's okay, because, you know, I love just walking through the word anyway and reminding myself of some of the things it said, maybe some of the things I haven't thought of in a while and things like that. So this morning, here's where I finally landed. I looked at this story and that story and I thought, I can do this. This sounds really good. But when I got to Numbers 13, and I don't know how I got here, right? But when I got to Numbers 13, I read this chapter 2 or 3 times actually and just thought about it a little bit. And this is a story where Moses sends the 12 spies into Canaan land. Now get this part. This is the part that I somehow have missed. I knew there were 12 spies that went in and they came back and said, wow, look at all this, right? But they were at Canaan land, you guys. They were at the edge of the promised land. They have come through the wilderness. They are there. God's already brought them through the 10 plagues, through the Red Sea, through all kinds of no water, some water, rained manna down from heaven on them, and all of these things. He's already brought them through so many things, and they have arrived. Moses says, or God tells Moses to send a man to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving the children of Israel. God, I am, the I am, is giving them to the children of Israel. So they go in, and Joshua and Caleb are like, man, this is awesome. Look at these grapes. I can't wait to make some wine with these grapes. I can't look at the corn. Look at the radishes. I don't know what else they grew there, right? Rice, whatever they grew, it wouldn't be rice, right? Whatever they looked at the produce, and it was like almonds, and it was abundant, and it was big, and it was luscious, and it was wow, right? But the other 10 spies said, oh no, we can't take this land. The people are too big. And you know, actually, that was the truth. They couldn't take the land. But if you go back to that first verse of chapter 13, God said, this is the land I'm giving you. So it was a moot point, right? Basic, because God's already given them the land. Go look at the land I'm giving you. Joshua and Caleb were the only ones that believed the report of the Lord. The other 10 spies, listen to what they said. I'm still here in Numbers 13, and it says this. It says, but the men who had gone up with him, other than Caleb and Joshua, of course, said, we are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than us. And they gave the children a bad report of the land which they had spied out, saying, the land through which we have gone as spies is a land that devours its inhabitants. And the people who we saw were all bigger than us. They're bigger than us, and they're stronger than us. Then there we saw giants, and we were like grasshoppers, get this part, in our own sight. They were using the wrong basis of comparison. They were looking at the people when God said, I'm giving you the land, right? And they said that they're stronger than us and they're bigger than us. And in our own, we look small to ourselves. But I like to compare that with the story of David and Goliath in 1 Samuel 17. And David never said anything about how big Goliath was. Now, Samuel, writing it all out, or whoever wrote it all out. I think it was Samuel in First Samuel. That would make sense, right? And he described how big Goliath was. David never addressed that. He just said, today God is giving you to me, and I'm going to cut your head off. I'm going to kill you and cut your head off. He didn't say, oh, he's really big, I think I'll go back home. Hold on, right? And so, but here they're looking at, and they're going, they're bigger than us, they're stronger than us. Well, that's okay. That's irrelevant because they're not bigger and stronger than God. And don't we sometimes look at our situations and our problems and we say, oh, this is really big. But if we compare it to other problems, or we compare it to other people's circumstances, which is not wise, we could make our comparison. Let's compare it to what makes a difference. Our basis of comparison would be to God, because God is always bigger than our situations. God is always stronger than whatever's coming at us. He's also always stronger than us. And we're not the ones going to win the victory. God's going to give us that victory. He's the one that's going to take us into battle and help us win. As a matter of fact, because they gave a bad report, God said, guess what? They're at Canaan land, y'all. They have arrived. And God says, you're just going to walk in the wilderness for 40 years and get rid of all these people, because I brought them here, but they're still not believing me. What I said, go take the land. And they're like, go look at the land I'm giving you. They didn't have to worry about the people. God was giving them the land. The people were a mute point, right? And so, but it says in chapter 14, the Lord got angry. He said, just go walk in the wilderness. Let me think about this a little bit, right? And I love this because he said, because all these men who have seen my glory, think about that, all through the wilderness, didn't they see the presence of the Lord come down in the tabernacle and the cloud by day and the fire by night? They had seen that. They had seen God's glory on the mountain so much they said, Moses, we don't want to talk to God anymore. You go talk to him. We're a little bit scared. We're going to stay here. You come back and tell us what he said, right? So they had seen God's glory and the signs which I did in Egypt. They saw they lived through the 10 plagues. They had come through the wilderness with God's provision. Manna rained down out of heaven. Bitter water was made sweet. A rock where there was no water, the rock was struck and there was water. They had seen God's hand all these years in the wilderness. He said, they've seen my glory and my signs, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness. And now they have, and I love this part. I don't know why, but I do. And they put me to the test these 10 times and have not listened to me. They're not even going to see the land. 10 times. So that means God was counting. They put me to the test 10 times. I think I want to look back and see if I can find the 10 times that God is alluding to, because this was number 10. God said, they've tested me 10 times. And it's like he knew exactly how many times they had pushed the limit, right? He understood where they were. And he said, just walk around. And he said, but Joshua and Caleb, or he said, but Caleb is different. Now remember, Caleb came back and said, oh, we can take the land. Look at this wonderful fruit. It took 2 men to carry a cluster of grapes because they were so big and juicy and plump and delicious and nutritious, right? And my servant, because he has a different spirit in him and has followed me fully, he's going to come into the land. And later we read in the story where he comes into the land, but all the other people died off. They went back into the wilderness for 40 years. Even though they were on the edge of the promise, how many times are we on the edge of a breakthrough, the edge of what God has promised us? How many times do we get discouraged because we look back? I mean, somewhere right before this, I think it was right before this, it might be right after this, they decided they were going to go back to Egypt. Yeah, it's right after this. They're like, let's elect somebody. Let's find a different leader. We don't like the leader God gave us. Yeah, let's replace Moses with somebody else. I'm like, why would you go back to Egypt? You are on the edge of Canaan land. You've already come through all these battles. You've already seen God bring all these miracles and work all these things. You've seen his glory in the wilderness, and you want to go back to Egypt? Pharaoh's not even there. Egypt isn't even the same as when you left, because God changed the whole terrain over there and wiped out Pharaoh's army, right? But when we look back, it should help us see. It depends on what you're looking at, right? If you're looking at your problems as stronger and bigger, then you're looking at the wrong thing. And I'm talking to myself or not y'all, okay? If we're looking at our problems going, "Ooh, they're big and they're stronger, bigger and they're stronger than me," that's okay, because God is bigger and stronger than our situations. God is bigger and stronger than us. God is bigger and stronger. So like David looked at Goliath, who was huge in stature, and said, "God's going to deliver you in my hand today, and I'm going to cut your head off and celebrate a victory because you're going down." He didn't say, "Ooh, he's really big, I don't know," but because he was looking at the God with him rather than the giant who was staring him down. And the people didn't look at the God who was with them. They looked at the people in the land. And God didn't say, "Go check out the people in the land." He said, "Go send the spies, send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I'm giving you." To spy out the lands, not spy out the people. The people were a mute point. God was giving them the land. So everything, nothing else mattered. If we could just get a hold of the promises of God and hold on to them and use him as our basis of comparison, rather than saying, "This is stronger than me." It's okay. This is bigger than me. It's okay, because God is stronger than me. God is bigger than me. And that means he's bigger than my problems, my situations. And I can look back at my wilderness experiences and go, he's always had the grace to get me through. I've had peace in all those, and I didn't die in any of those yet, right? I've been through wilderness experiences, and here God and I still are. I've seen his glory. I've seen his hand. I've known he had to have done something like take that tornado up all of a sudden yesterday before it hit Arnett, Oklahoma, right? It just, even the weathermen are going, "Where'd it go?" It's just gone. Because we were praying for a miracle. We're praying, "No, you're not going to hit that town." And I was. I hope y'all was too. And it just went away. And then the weathermen were all going, "Where the tornado's just gone. It's just literally went away, dissipated right back up into the air." And I was like, "Oh, I think God just intervened," right? And so we've seen God intervene. We've had those experiences. If we look at that, instead of measuring our problems to us, we measure our problems, our situations, our struggles, our trials, our whatever we fill in the blank to ourselves, we're going to look small every time. But if we compare them to who God is, the God who is with us, and the God who has already given us that victory, already given us everything we need for life and godliness, already given us a peace, already given us his mercies, already given us his grace. What are you comparing your situations to? I will be overwhelmed if I compare my situations to what I can do. I'll have already lost just like they did. But if I compare my situations, use God for my basis of comparison, they're so small compared to what God can do, compared to what God's already brought me through. And I have absolute trust that he's going to take me through today too. And that's why. Peace out. Peace out, you guys. Have a great day. I'll see you again in the morning.